Alright, so I'm here to make some corrections. I recently talked to my mom, and she reassured me that she's very much okay with me talking about the past. Editing me, and I realized I didn't put a trigger warning. I'm gonna be talking about abuse and just drug abuse and the things I went through as a kid, so I hope you take that into consideration. But she also told me that I got something wrong. From the title says it all, from my bullying story. She said my punch didn't happen the way I swear that this is how it happened. But I guess she said I was outside playing in front or in the back or somewhere. And she said she wasn't too far away from me and she said that I guess another adult saw it happen. Our neighbor friend saw some high school girl walk up to me and just clock me. And I'm like, what? And I guess I was sitting down on the ground playing. I had no idea. But she said I got everything else right. But it made her start thinking, why didn't she take me to school, and why didn't she do more? And she kind of reminded me of everything was going on, and I was very aware of what was going on in my household. It's just I went to school for 8 hours out of the day, so I can't know everything. My mom did things while I was at school. So she told me that around that time, when I was getting really bullied at school, my dad was running off on us. He was cheating on my mom. And this, she said, because we both have this one day, we really remember her just dropping me off to leave me to my own stuff, to deal with my own stuff. And she told me, I went to the teacher, and I went to I wrote this down, handy dandy book. So my mom said that she went to first my teacher, who sent her to the office, to the staff, who sent her to the principal, or was it the dean and then the principal, whichever order it was, I don't know, who then sent her to the counselor, who was then the one who told us, hey, maybe if you and your daughter lost weight, she wouldn't be bullied in school, and there wasn't really much she could do. And I remember there was times she did take me to school, but it wasn't that often. And I realized it's because my mom was telling me this. As soon as she told me, I remembered. But I on my own, I couldn't remember. So she told me that, my dad, he ran off one day after he got paid and just left us without a car and took his paycheck, even though my mom said there was a bill coming up that was about to be shut off. He took it. He spent his whole paycheck on a prostitute, and I think it was cocaine or something. And she says that particular day, I remember that we both really remember. She just left me at school to and she said that she had been dropped off. She wasn't in her own car. She was with my grandparents and my little baby brother. He was not even a year old. She dropped me off at school, she dropped me off at school and went off to track down my dad. Heard that he was somewhere, needed to hurry up and be there. And because she said she had made a last payment on a car, the car he took, and we really needed a car, grocery shop, to take kids to appointments, you can do without, but like if you spent all your money on a car, you want your car. And and my mom said, and I knew this at the time, but I just didn't remember exactly when it happened, because I was dealing with my own stuff and then dealing with that stuff. It's hard to keep track, especially since I was only a child. So my mom said that she tracked him down, found him with a prostitute. He had already spent all the money and took her car back. She says that she couldn't keep me from home because she had to go deal with that. And she did tell me something interesting about the school I went to. She said a few years after I left and we moved on from that area, she heard in the news that that very elementary school, Matt Kelly, all the staff was fired for lying on some, I guess they were doing budget stuff and changing the scores. I should have read up on this. If I read up on it, I'll find an article and I'll put it down in the doobly-doo, the description box, because that's so interesting. And if it's not there, if I can't find it, I'll cut this out. I'll cut that out. So I'm supposed to be talking over here. My mom also has an at the time, she's doing much better, but at the time, she didn't know she was bipolar. And then, she didn't have a great childhood herself. That's it. Yeah, that's it. After that, I moved in with my grandparents and my aunt, and just stayed there for, I think, some months until my mom got a transfer to a different government housing, and that's the one I stayed at for like 8 years. It wasn't as bad. I didn't have as much problems, but that's mostly because I beat up a few people and they left me alone, and I mostly just stayed to myself. I was just like the weird goth kid in the neighborhood. Yeah, it was a really hard time, and my mom told me something interesting, that, around this time, he was like knocking on all our doors, trying to like get into the house. This was the time he lit himself on fire because I wouldn't let him in. He had taken turns knocking on all our doors, my sister, mine, to let him in. And we got in trouble. We would get hit for letting him in because he would just cause the biggest stink and fight. He would wake up with my mom and they would have an ugly fight, and they would end up hitting each other or something. Things would be broken. My dad had a habit of, those little fancy glass cups that you put like potpourri and stuff in. He would just grab them, grab my coconut oil for like for demonstration. Grab my coconut oil for demonstration. He would just grab them, and they weren't this big, I swear, and just smash it against his head and smash it against his chest. That was later, himself, and lighting him, and so we would get in trouble for letting him in, and we stopped letting him in, and I got mean, and I started taunting him through the window. I was like, "Get out of here, you piece of shit, you asshole. Nobody wants you here." And I would call him pathetic. And I was so angry at him for just coming in here and like messing with us. And it's just like, what is this grown ass adult doing to us? Because I just know if I let him in, he's gonna like, my mom and my dad are gonna hurt each other. So, like, go away. You know, it was the drugs. It was the drugs. And it's hard to separate that kind of behavior from the person. So he was such a good person. That's probably why I was so angry, because I felt so betrayed by my dad, because we used to watch martial arts movies. He taught me how to play solitaire. We did puzzles together. You know, I remember him listening to Elvis and stuff. And you know, he did time and stuff. He faced his consequences, and I'm glad I let go of the anger and forgave him towards the end. But it wasn't like it was the only thing I was dealing with. The only thing my mom was dealing with was just his stuff. So it was just, everything was overwhelming for all of us. And I guess I wanted to be a little bit more frank, since my mom made me feel more confident in opening up about that story. So yeah, like, he's lighting himself on fire, and my mom's not letting him in no more. And then my grandmother on my dad's side, I have nothing to do with her. Just a handful of memories, or I'm taking pictures, or feeling awkward around her. She doesn't know English, and I don't even think she understands English. I'm not sure. She pretends not to know any when I speak it. But she called my mother up and told her how messed up she was and how wrong she is. We're living in government housing. He's not even allowed to be there. And his mother is calling us, telling my mom that she's wrong and that she has room for my dad and not to be so heartless. I have not even told you a fifth of all the shit he did too. For years. Before we even got to the government housing. That whole family, I should say the adults, a lot of my dad's siblings, others, I don't know how complacent they were, but there were plenty of them who just talked about my mom all the time within earshot of me. And I had no interest to talk to people who just trash talked my mom in Spanish all the time. You know, they treated us like weirdos because we liked to read. We didn't really speak Spanish like they did. I felt like an outsider because of that too. You know, with my psoriasis and how overweight I was, and my dad's family were just manipulative and mean, or they acted like they didn't know what was going on. Blissfully unaware, I guess. I'm at the I also found out that after my dad went to prison, my aunts and my uncles on my dad's side never visited me. Except to check up on my mom when my dad was gone, because, you know, maybe his property was with another man, is my guess. It makes me so angry. But I'm really glad I'm not part of my dad's side of the family. I know the younger generation, my cousins who weren't around or old enough to even talk when I was still part of that family. I'm not talking about them, but I'm talking about the majority of my dad's siblings and his mom. Because his mom started rumors about me. I'm just very confused. She said something about, you know, my dad told me this, that his mom called him and told him that I called her to tell her I don't even know what it was, some stuff that my mom was doing. And I was like, I've never spoken to her, and I don't like, at the time I was very shy about my Spanish. I'm very still shy about my Spanish. But after living in Mexico for a few months, you know, I feel a little bit better about speaking it, but it's not, I feel like I have a dumb tongue or something. Like a tongue that doesn't want to cooperate. So yeah. I think it's just, for a long time I blamed myself for this perfect storm of nightmarish bullshit with, you know, the way I was raised, she was raised. The way she was raised, my grandma was raised. I've spoken to her. You know, they don't treat the children like, my mom's no longer doing this, my grandma's changed too. But, you know, I was raised that way. And it's more like how you treat an untrained dog, where you don't tell them what to do, how to act. It's just when they misbehave, you smack them. You know what I mean? The mistreating, not speaking, you know, my way or the highway, shut the hell up. Eat that or you don't eat at all. Very uncompromising. I say complain about my skin, and it was just an excuse to be lazy. You know, I'm chronically ill, but I'm instilled in me that if I'm not actively hurting myself, that I'm lazy, and I'm trying to like let that go and stuff. And it's just so much built in from, because I just didn't stay with my mom and my family until I was 18. I couldn't work and I couldn't get out, so I kept going back, and I lived with her until well into my late 20s. So, you know, sometimes I feel like my life didn't start until recently, because now I can sit down and breathe and let my skin heal, not be in constant pain. So either I'm cleaning, cooking, or laying down and recovering from it. Sweeping, mopping, cleaning, doing this, and then recovering from it. Let me read a book while I just lay down. Because if I didn't do anything, then everybody talked behind my back, and I'm lazy, and I'm this. And for so long I thought it was me, because you know that saying, if everybody's the problem, then maybe you're the problem. And it took me getting away from that bubble, from that. I'm really glad I went to Reno for this reason. Bad things happened to me there, but I met some great people there. I met friends that I'm still friends with to this day. Like, I mean, we still talk and FaceTime. And I wouldn't have that because I don't talk to many people anymore. And I feel like I've isolated myself because I was ashamed for being lazy. I'm ashamed of being chronically ill. And I still have trouble opening up and everything because I was just always surrounded by this manipulative and man, I feel better. I feel so much better after talking to you. I honestly do, and I hope I didn't like trigger you and upset you, and I am honestly doing a lot better than I used to be, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have art all around and to be constantly working on things, because I have a hard time connecting with people. And I'm not a third as confident as I may seem. So next time I want to do some Job Corps stories, but there's just so much. So I was just thinking about starting with the 3-week building. But within the 3-week building, there's a bunch of stories that, yeah. In my first 3 weeks at Job Corps, there's so much that happened. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I feel a lot better, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna put this up. I feel good though. No, for real. I feel good. I feel better. I'm wearing blue. I feel cute. I'm gonna do some art, and I'm on like day 30. I am just around the corner from day 40 of daily painting. I hope you enjoyed my story time.